Let us take a moment of housekeeping, not of chairs and schedules, but of spirit. We begin as one consciousness. Your advantage in this hour is our shared realization where two or three gather in his name, there I am in the midst of you, and the uplift of united awareness. Your disadvantage, and mine if I forget, is the habit of leaning on techniques, on cleverness, on the little handles of mind that promise control. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. The personal will cannot usher you into what already is. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. So let me say it plainly at the outset, and it may be unpopular mercy to your habits. There are no pineal hacks here, not a condemnation, a rescue. Years can be spent polishing a lens that never sees. We will not tweak glands, rub points, count breaths, or bargain with the brain. That is mercy, because it saves strain, and because strain blinds. Stop! Stop! Let the tongue fall quiet before it instructs God. The grace that heals, reveals, governs, does not arrive by manipulation. It dawns where manipulation ends. Carry this line with you as a lamp, not a gland, a seeing, one presence. When the Master said, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light, he did not lend holiness to a secretion. He named a seeing that sees only God. The single eye is not located behind bone. It is the wordless recognition that only one is, and in that one, there is no opposite power to fear or to use. Here is our ground rule and our mercy. God is one. Say it until the need to say it disappears in the knowing. God is one. Therefore, thought is not power. Ritual is not power. Glands are not power. As long as you believe there is power in a good thought, you are far from the kingdom. Who by taking thought can add a cubit, change a hair, awaken the heart? Harmony is not engineered. Harmony is realized. Be still and know that I am God. We are not beginning a project. We are consenting to presence. Our united consciousness does the housekeeping by leaving nothing outside. We do not gather techniques, we lay them down. We live as the pause that lets God be God. That is our two-word treatment. God is one. That is the end of strain and the beginning of light. Take this mercy tonight and let it clear the table of your cleverness, that grace may set the meal. Enough for now, beloved. There are two parts to this work, and you must know which is which. There is the letter of truth, and there is the spirit or consciousness of truth. The letter teaches, points, suggests, nudges, reminds. The spirit heals, illumines, reveals, and does the works, techniques, forms, affirmations, diagrams, lectures. These belong to the letter. They can instruct the mind. They cannot impart life. The letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life. Do you hear? The letter, if clutched as power, becomes a wall. The spirit recognized is the door already open. Do not despise the letter. It is a kind servant. The verses you memorize, the principles you can state, the metaphors that comfort you, these are scaffolding. But what is scaffolding if you never step into the house? As long as you believe the scaffolding holds your peace, you are still outdoors. The letter is for one purpose only, to lift you to the threshold where thought grows quiet and spirit takes over. Let the letter do that and no more. The urge to add one more phrase, one more mental push, one more tool is the urge to stay outside and paint the door while the feast waits within. Every formula keeps awareness preoccupied with mind, and the single eye is before mind It is not the mind that sees God, it is God that sees as you. You cannot think your way into that. You cannot feel your way into that. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. Who by taking thought can add a cubit to his stature? Not you, not I. So let us be very firm in our understanding of our own inadequacy and very gentle with the mind that tries. Thank it for its service, then ask it reverently to take its seat. Now the directive, let the letter lift you, then stop. Stop, be still, and know that I am God. Let your tongue fall quiet before it instructs heaven. Hold those teeth together if they wish to treat a condition or impress the infinite. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Consent to this. Stand at the threshold, the heart attentive, the mind surrendered, and let grace appear. Your part is not the doing. Your part is the not doing that makes room. You will discover that when the mind relinquishes its post, the presence reveals itself as peace, first as peace, then as light, then as order unfolding without command. In thy light shall we see light. This is why we gather in united consciousness, that the letter we share may usher us together to silence, and in that silence the one does the work of one. Techniques may prepare the room. Only realized consciousness turns on the lamp. Rest there. God is. God is one. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Now, having let the letter deliver us to the threshold, we must dismantle the favorite idol that waits right there at the door. Decalcify, stimulate, visualize, amplify. Beloved, do you hear the premise beneath every one of those words? They declare a second power. They announce that matter resists spirit and mind must force the gate. They make chemistry an altar and imagination a lever. God is one. As long as you hold to a second lever, a secret switch, a gland to tweak, you are declaring two spirit plus something. That is why methods multiply. The moment we believe in two, we must manage the second with endless effort. Stop. Be very firm with this. The single eye is not a body part to polish. It is a presence to recognize. And the mind? Many of you have learned beautiful thoughts, bright affirmations, elevated pictures of light and centers. But as long as you believe there is power in a good thought, you are far from the kingdom. Who by taking thought can add a cubit to his stature? Who can think of fear away or imagine God into the room? My thoughts are not your thoughts, says the Lord. Thought can point, but it cannot power. Thought is not power. There is no such thing as a mortal mind with forces to oppose or to use. That term denotes nothingness. Only realized consciousness, spirit recognizing itself, illumines. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Body, brain, chemistry, not power. Pineal, pituitary, vagus, breath, pulse, not power. You cannot see God, hear God, taste God, touch God, smell God, or think God. You cannot stimulate God with current, nor visualize God into brighter wattage, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. If thine eye, the lamp, is not lit by the bulb, the current is not in the filament, the light is in the presence, and the presence is one. Who by hacking a gland has ever added a cubit to awakening? Who has manufactured the dawn with a louder rooster? Dawn appears because light is fromens. Awakening is not engineered. It is recognized. It is the immediate, wordless knowing that God is, and that besides God there is none else. When the personal doer lays down its tinkering, when the mental mechanic puts away its tools, grace appears and does the work. Be still and know that I am God. Let your tongue fall quiet before it instructs heaven. hold those teeth together when they want to treat a condition or improve a center. Stop, yield, consent. God is. God is one. And when the one is recognized as the only presence and the only power, harmony does not need a hack. It simply is. The Master spoke plainly. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. What eye? Not a point behind bone, not a switch in the skull. He did not ordain anatomy. He named a seeing. He pointed to a way of awareness that admits no no rival presence, no power alongside God. The single eye is the scriptural word for undivided awareness, God as the only is. When the eye is single, the body is full of light because consciousness is no longer split between God and something else. God is one. Hear the witness across the ages. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. I am the Lord, and besides me there is none else. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. Can you hear the refrain? One, 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 not two. And the Master deepens it. No man can serve two masters. To serve two is to live in division, to bind yourself to darkness, fear, and effort. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. The single eye is the end of that instability, for it is the end of two. It is the end of management and the beginning of revelation. Now listen to how Scripture redirects the soul from performance to presence. Be still and know that I am God. Not be clever. Be still. Not instruct heaven. No. Not by polish nor by push, but by presence recognized. Take no thought for your life. Consider the lilies. Who by taking thought has ever added a cubit to awakening? The Master does not give you a regimen. He gives you rest. He does not give you a lever. He gives you light. In thy light shall we see light. The single eye beholds that light by ceasing to divide. God is one. Do you find any verse that bids you decalcify a gland to find God? Did the Lord say, when you have arranged your chemistry, then I will be? No. He says, I am that I am. Being is its own cause and its own proof. God is. And because God is, you are in God. In him we live and move and have our being. The single eye is this knowing, not as a thought repeated, but as an inner hush in which the one recognizes itself. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. You can only yield and know. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy, and you will cease from the strain of two. Enter into thy closet, shut the door on second causes, and there your Father which seeth in secret will reward you openly. What reward? Light, order, peace, appearing by grace, because division has ended. I and my Father are one. Say it until saying falls away and only oneness remains. God is one. This is the single eye, and this alone fills the body with light. Stop, stop. Let the wordless recognition be your prayer. Be still and know. What then is this single eye? It is the end of two. It is the mind relinquished, the heart at rest, the soul awake to the fact that God is the only presence, the only power, the only life. The single eye is one presence seeing itself. It is not a faculty you develop. It is the recognition that recognizes itself, seer, seen, and seeing as one. I and my Father are one, not two looking at each other across a table, but one being itself without a seam. In thy light shall we see light, not a beam shining on something out there, but light knowing light. When that is glimpsed instantly, wordlessly, the struggle ends, because the premise of struggle, a second cause, is gone. Where One is all. There is nothing to add, nothing to remove, nothing to fix. What would you add to fullness? With what tool would you repair the infinite? As long as you keep a wrench in your pocket, you believe in a bolt that can loosen apart from God. But besides me, there is none else. Do you hear? If there is none else, there is nothing left to engineer. That is why the Master directs, take no thought for your life. Thought is management. Recognition is life. The single eye is the instant cessation of management and the beginning of revelation. Not by might, not by power, by my spirit. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy, not as an insult, but as an entrance. The personal cannot lift itself. Grace appears when the personal yields. How do you consent? Quietly, gently, without bargaining. Say within, not as a charm, but as surrender, God is. Let those two words be a door that stands open of itself. God is, and because God is, all that truly is must be the appearing of God. God is, and therefore any sense of a second presence, fear, lack, disease, resistance, has no law, no life, no entity. Say it softly, and then do not say it. Stop, stop, be still, and know that I am God. Let your tongue fall quiet before it instructs heaven. Hold those teeth together when they itch to treat a condition. Enter into thy closet, not to perform, but to cease from performing. Remain until there is a hush, no plea, no push, only the felt fact that being is, and this being is one. In that hush, one presence sees itself as your awareness, your world, your very breath. Seer, seen, and seeing are not three. They are one life streaming. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. Yet it announces itself as peace, a soft, unarguable peace, and peace is the law of its own unfolding. Then, without your counsel, order appears. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. The body of your affairs, the body of your relationships, the body of your flesh full of light, because nothing is being opposed and nothing is being managed. Presence recognizes presence, and harmony is the echo of that single seeing. So let this be our definition and our doing by not doing. The single eye is immediate recognition that only one presence is. God is. God is one. Return to this as to a home, not to accumulate merit, but to be where you already are, where one is all. Grace is the activity, light is the evidence, and you are the transparency through which God beholds God. Let us place them side by side, not on a chalkboard, but in the living of an hour. On one side, technique, the mind armed with breath, counts, affirmations, micro goals. 9 in, 9 hold, 9 out, do 5 rounds, sit for 20 minutes, repeat the phrase 108 times, track the heart rate, chart the mood. There is a stopwatch, a whispering critic, a calendar with red circles. Did you keep up? Did you improve? Did you achieve? There is measuring and comparing and the inevitable fatigue of one who must carry tomorrow on his back. And under every repetition, a hidden creed, not yet awake, not yet light. As long as there is a not yet, there are two. And where there are two, there is strain. On the other side, silence. Stop, stop. Hold those teeth together when they itch to treat a condition. Let the tongue fall before it schemes a better prayer. No asking, no shaping, no reaching for a handle on God. A single, quiet consent. God is. Say it if you must, then let even that fall away. Be still and know that I am God. Not a gland, a seeing, one presence. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. Yet in the hush, it announces itself as peace, unprovoked, unpurchased, unperformed, and peace is the law of its own appearing. Now feel the fruits of each. Technique breeds delay. If I keep to it, perhaps light will come. The carrot is always a day away, the self always the doer. Failure feels like sin. Success breeds pride, and both bind you to the treadmill. Who by taking thought can add a cubit, make one hair white or black, manufacture dawn with a louder rooster. Thought is not power. Breath is not power. Timetables are not power. God is power, and God is one, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Silence reveals what already is. The instant two falls away, the one stands forth, not as a vision bought with practice, but as being, knowing itself. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. No counting does that. No diagram does that. Recognition does that. The single eye is the end of management and the beginning of revelation. Take no thought for your life. When you cease shaping the river shows its own course. When you stop telling God, grace appears and does the work. So when the mind proposes another micro goal, hear the kindness in this prohibition. Stop. Stop. Let your inadequacy be your entrance. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Put the timer down. Close the ledger of spiritual points. Enter thy closet and shut the door on second causes. God is one. Not a gland, a seeing, one presence beholding itself, and in that beholding harmony is not delayed, it is. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Now we relearn prayer, not telling, not managing, not advising omniscience, as if God were a clerk behind glass. True prayer puts you on the receiving end of God. It is not a performance. It is a consent. It is wordless, thoughtless, inner yielding. Be still and know that I am God. Let your tongue fall before it drafts a petition. Hold those teeth together when they ache to outline outcomes. Stop. Stop. Treat God as the one mind that knows before you know, as the one life that is already being itself everywhere. Procedure, then, is holy simplicity. Enter into thy closet. Shut the door on second causes, on conditions, on your bright solutions. Come empty. Bring no shopping list. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Sit, stand, walk, no matter the posture is consent. Whisper if you must, God is, and then let even the whisper fall away. Rest there, not a thought about God, not a hope toward God, but a silent beholding of God as the only presence, the only power. Wait. Wait as one who knows the sunrise is certain without shout or signal, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. In that waiting, you will learn that prayer is not you reaching. Prayer is God's own presence announcing itself as peace. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. Nevertheless, it arises unprovoked, unpurchased. Peace comes as its own authority. And peace is the law of its unfolding. That appearing of grace is the doing. That is the work done without your counsel. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Your part is the not doing that refuses to add might, power, or bright ideas to omnipotence. Suppose the rent date stares at you, or a diagnosis speaks loudly, or your child trembles in the night. Do not argue with shadows. Do not rehearse remedies and call it prayer. Enter the closet. Shut the door on the name and nature of the problem. A simple turning. God is. One presence here where sight reports distress. one power here where mind invents odds. Be still. Refuse to tell God what light should look like. Let light be light. Remain until there is that quiet confirmation, not a sentence, a sense that I am is present. Then go about your way. You did not move a mountain. The mountain was mist. You did not heal a patient. God revealed God where a patient seemed. Harmony arrives by grace. It is not engineered by cleverness. Let this be our daily prayer. Frequent holy stops in which we return to the receiving end. No pleading, no planning, just consent. God is one. In that recognition, grace appears and does the work, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Now we come to the hinge on which everything turns. Surrender of the doer. Prayer has put us on the receiving end. Now let us be very firm, ruthlessly kind with ourselves in the understanding of our own inadequacy. Not as shame, as doorway. As long as you imagine that your wisdom, your will, your perfect phrasing, your bravest faith can accomplish God's work, you will grind the gears of a machine that has no power. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Say it until the need to say it disappears in the knowing. I of my own self do nothing. Stop. Let the little engineer lay down his tools. Turn it over, not as performance, not as one more method, but as an honest relinquishment. Father, let me feel thy presence. Then be still. Hold those teeth together when they hurry to instruct heaven. Let your tongue fall before it bargains outcomes. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Your turning over is not a technique. It is a cessation, a clean handing back of the reins you never truly held. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Cast it, and then refuse to reel the line back in with worry. Turn it over, and be still. Pride of technique is the last veil. Even spiritual cleverness is pride in costume. The mind sits straighter when it can say, I know the steps, I have the schedule, I keep the practice. Beloved, who by keeping steps has made the sun rise 1 minute sooner? Who by taking thought has added a cubit to awakening? If you win, pride claims a crown. If you fail, pride wears sackcloth. In both, pride governs and grace is delayed by the belief there is someone here to achieve God. He must increase, but I must decrease. Let the I that performs decline into silence, and you will find the I am that lives. Not I, but Christ liveth in me. Make it immediate and practical. The email arrives, the bank balance narrows, the fever spikes. Do not become a foreman shouting at spirit. Quietly, inwardly, Father, I of my own self do nothing. This is yours. Let me feel thy presence. Then stop. Sit in that holy uselessness where omnipotence requires no help. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. Yet, in the hush, there dawns an unarguable sufficiency. My grace is sufficient for thee. That grace is the activity. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. What follows is not your triumph. It is transparency. Presence is free to be itself as you. The thought that must devise, the will that must push, the hand that must fix, gone. In their place, a quiet ordering appears, and you find yourself doing what is given to be done without strain, speaking the word that is placed on your lips, or saying nothing at all, light governing as light. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. God is one. Turn it over and rest in sufficiency. Now let us widen the surrender until it erases even our nouns. Practitioner, patient, helper. Help, these are roles invented by the belief in two. In the single I, there are no stations and no stations to improve. God is one. Healing is not a transaction across a gap. Healing is recognition that there was no gap. I and my Father are one. Do you hear how that cancels the distance, not only between you and God, but between you and your brother? In Him we live and move and have our being together, not as many beings, but as one being appearing as many. When someone asks for help, be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy, and then be firmer still in your understanding that there is no other life to fix. Do not project a thought toward a person, nor send a current across a city. Where two or three are gathered in my name, my nature, my oneness, there I am in the midst. The gathering is not bodies side by side. It is awareness, undivided. As this undivided awareness dawns, burden dissolves into presence. There is no patient in presence. There is only presence appearing as wholeness. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Want presumes two, shepherd and sheep in one life end want. Mortal mind, error, fear, these are names for nothingness. Shadows cast by a belief in a second power. There is no such thing as mortal mind. It is a term denoting nothingness. Who by taking thought has ever opposed the sun with a candle? The light shineth in darkness, the darkness comprehendeth it not. Not because darkness is stubborn, but because there is no law in the shadow. So you do not wrestle a fear, you do not correct an error, you recognize God as the only is, and fear and error reveal their lack of substance. Besides me, there is none else. In the practice of this oneness, you do nothing to someone. You rest as the transparency through which God beholds God. Stop, hold those teeth together when they rush to treat a condition or improve a person. Enter thy closet. Shut the door on titles and troubles. A simple consent. God is one. Remain until the hush that has no opposite makes itself known, not a sentence, a sense. In that presence, there is nothing outside to fix and no inside that fixes. There is only one being. And then, as day follows dawn without command, order appears, words given or no words, gestures given or no gesture, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Believe me, if there were but 10 righteous 10 who were willing to stand in this undivided awareness, the city would feel it. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Not a liberty won by treatment, but the liberty that ever was when the myth of two is laid down. God is one. In realized oneness, there is nothing to fix and no one outside the one to fix it. Now let us bring this out of the meeting hall and into a Monday. The mind will ask for a schedule, a chart, a score. Deny it gently. Our discipline is holy simplicity. Brief, frequent returns to the fact God is then silence. Not a mantra to accumulate merit. A door we consent to notice, step through, and be home. 2 words, and then no words. God is, and then stop. Be still, and know that I am God. Let your tongue fall before it makes a ceremony. Hold those teeth together when they would turn 2 words into 200. Stop. God is silence. Install holy stops. Before you lift a fork, pause. God is, and then eat at the threshold of a room. Hand on the doorknob, God is, and then enter. Between emails, God is, and then answer. When the phone rings, God is, and then speak. In the car at a red light, God is, and then drive. At the sink, at the copier, on the elevator, while waiting for the kettle, God is, and then live the next moment as one who has remembered. One. A breath is not the power. The pause is not the power. God is the power. These holy stops are not tricks. They are seizings, micro-surrenders by which the personal doer yields and grace is free to appear. Refuse vain repetitions. If the two-word treatment wants to grow fat with fear, adding adjectives, bolting on outcomes, stop, stop. No embroidery, no bargaining, no hurrying heaven. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Say, God is once, as surrender, and then abide in the hush that follows. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. Yet in that hush, peace comes of itself. That peace is the measure. It measures you. Measure nothing. Let grace measure you. No tally of pauses, no spiritual pedometer. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Do not wait for a sanctuary. Make of your threshold sanctuaries. The closet is wherever you shut the door on to. In an argument forming on your tongue, God is, and let your words be given or withheld by grace. With a bill in hand, God is, and let order appear without your counsel. With a child afraid, hold them. Yes, but first, silently God is, and let the one appearing as both of you be the only presence in the room. Pray without ceasing is not noise without ceasing. It is recognition without ceasing, returning and returning, until return disappears into abidance. Short, sincere returns will steady the eye that sees one, not performance presence, not method mercy. God is one. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Let liberty find you in 100 holy stops and discover that grace needs no clock to keep time. Now we live as the seeing, not as the seeker. Let us be very firm. Harmony is not delayed. It is unnoticed, while we consult two. Live from one presence now. God is one. This is not an attitude. It is an actuality revealed in stillness. Be still and know that I am God. Do not wait for a sign. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. Yet it announces itself as peace, and peace governs. Walk in that governance. Life arranges itself without your blueprint. Fear first. Deny it a second power. Do not yell at fear or fix it. Stand still. Fear not. It is I. Who is the I? Presence. When fear knocks, do not open the door with arguments. Open no door at all. Enter thy closet and shut the door on two. A soft consent, God is. Abide until the tremor finds no host. Perfect love casteth out fear. Love does the casting, not you. Stop, stop. As the sense of two dissolves, fear dissolves with it, for it has no law, no life, no mind. Concerning health, do not fight disease. Do not confer upon it form or power. Resist not evil. I am the Lord that healeth thee. Healing is not an event. It is the visibility of oneness. Recognize God here as the only life, and watch order appear without your counsel. You did not mend flesh, you witnessed light. If thine eye be single, the body shall be full of light. Stop treating symptoms with thoughts, let spirit reveal itself. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Regarding supply, forget effect, demonstrate God, and effects align. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. The adding is not shopping, it is appearing. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Bring no ledger to the altar, bring emptiness. God is. Rest there until sufficiency confirms itself as peace. Then, as appropriate form, you will find right action, contacts, and ideas presenting themselves without strain, the shepherd leading the sheep to green pasture. Seal this in identity. As long as God is, I am. Not the personal striver, the transparency of I am. In him we live and move and have our being. Let that be your gait tonight, unhurried, unafraid, untorn. Practice no hack, offer no help to omnipotence, walk gently in isness. God is one. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Live from one presence now, and harmony will unfold by grace, quietly, decisively as what already is. Sleep in that assurance tonight.